Good evening and welcome to Into Vietnam, which updates business events here in the country, our top stories. The National Assembly approves the state budget estimation for 2014. European Union, small and medium-sized enterprises explore business opportunities in Vietnam. And the Vietnam auto sales are 15% in the first 10 months of this year. The National Assembly of Vietnam has approved the budget for 2014 with 87.95% votes. Members of the National Assembly approved the country target of 782.7 trillion dong, or $367.8 billion worth of state budget revenues, and more than 1,000 trillion dong, or $473.1 billion worth of budget expenditure in 2014. The state budget deficit is targeted at 224 trillion dong, or more than $105 billion, or 5.3% of the country's GDP. The largest portion of the state budget deficit will be spent for development investment, and a part of it would be for debt payment. The National Assembly requested the government to reinforce the monitoring of financial rules, apply tight fiscal policies, and restructure budget collection and spending in accordance with the monetary policies to maintain macroeconomic stability. The National Assembly also passed the resolution on adjusting 2013 the state budget indicators, allowing the government to increase state budget deficit to maximum 195.5 trillion dong, or 5.3% of GDP, to offset the under-targeted central budget collections. As part of the European Union efforts to deepen economic relations with countries in the dynamic of ASEAN region, Vice President Antonio Tajani, European Commissioner for Enterprise and Industry, led a mission for growth to Vietnam on November the 12th and the 13th. He was accompanied by 47 representatives from EU industry associations and companies, in particular those operating in key areas of EU-Vietnam business, like the tourism, agribusiness, and manufactured goods sectors. On November the 12th, the European delegation participated in a matchmaking event with local entrepreneurs in Ho Chi Minh City to generate business-to-business information sharing and potential business leads. To further help EU businesses operate in Vietnam, Vice President Tajani also witnessed the inauguration of the new EU-Vietnam Business Network. Agricultural products are a significant part of the EU exports to Vietnam, approximately 13% of the value of all exports to Vietnam in 2011, and also of Vietnam imports to the EU, approximately 20% in the year. For this reason, during the two-day visit, participating companies active in the food supply chain, the processing, packaging, and retailing of food, also attended the 15th Forum on Eco-Innovation and UNEP Roundtable on Eco-Innovation, Cutting Waste, Resource Efficiency, and Eco-Innovation for Sustainable Food Chains. On November the 13th, Vice President Tajani met with the government officials in Hanoi, including Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng, Minister of Industry and Trade Vũ Huy Hoàng, and the Minister of Planning and Investment Bùi Quang Vinh. To ensure a higher degree of cooperation between export-oriented small and medium-sized enterprises on both sides, a letter of intent to establish a dialogue on SME policy was signed. The dialogue paid particular attention to the exchange of best practice to increase SME-friendly legislation, public-private business consultations, and cooperation in research and innovations. The exchange of best practice for small and medium-sized enterprises, internationalization and cooperation, and the development of strong business associations. The Vietnam Association of Automobile Manufacturers, or VAMA, says in October 2013, its 19 members sold well more than 10,000 units, up 5% on month and 29% on year. Car sales in the country increased for the 7th month in a row. Toyota retained its top position in sales in October, a place it has held since September 2012. VAMA says sales between January and October rose 20% from a year earlier to more than 75,700 vehicles. Vietnam car sales this year are forecast at 109,000 vehicles. Car sales by VAMA members in 2012 fell 27% from a year earlier, to nearly 80,500 vehicles. Meanwhile, annual sales by the country's entire car industry dropped 33% to 92,600 units. The Ministry of Construction collaborated with the Hanoi People Committee and relevant agencies to host the second international exhibition VITV in Hanoi on November the 13th. It opened up chances for business to exchange information, seek partners, showcase their products and technologies, and boost production as well as consumption of the sector amid current challenging conditions. The second international exhibition VITV Hanoi 2013 were attended by more than 300 businesses and corporations from 15 nations, including those with highly developed construction sector like China, Japan, France, Germany, South Korea, Italy, and the United States. Construction products were showcased in 1,200 booths. Within the fair scope, there will be a conference to introduce innovative and green technologies of the construction and realty sectors amid the current integration process. The potentials and opportunities of investing in realty tourism real estate will also be on discussion. The exhibition will last till November the 17th. And coming up next is some foreign trade news.
The Ministry of Finance will raise taxes by up to 10% for 462 preferential import tariff lines next year. The Ministry reviewed 3,425 tariff lines for all kinds of products based on list of domestically produced goods, discouraged imports and the import value of all goods in 2012. The review also takes into consideration its WTO commitment for 2014 and the import tax rate. The proposed increases will be on such products as mackerel, rock lobsters and sea shrimps, crabs, soft-shell crabs, wild leg shrimps, animal fat and oils. To encourage the use of Vietnamese products, the risk will rise by 2 to 3% for domestically produced materials and by 1 to 3% for imported mineral products. The Ministry will also increase import tax rates for imports carrying tax rates that are 0.5 to 1% lower than WTO commitments. Imports limited by the quotas will surge by 5 to 10%, again to encourage the use of local goods. The import rates on another 2,963 imports not produced domestically will be left the same. Vietnam will build a traffic distribution establishment at Gibraltar port in Belgium to facilitate its exports to the European market. The move is part of a cooperation agreement between Vietnamese and Belgian governments, which aims to boost Vietnam exports to EU. As part of the memorandum of understanding, a direct sea road from Vietnam to the port will be set up next year, which will shorten the transport time and cost for Vietnamese exporters. With electronic auctions at the port, Vietnamese seafood exporters would no longer have to offer their products at unreasonably low prices or attempt to undercut each other by working individually with importers. According to VASEF, Vietnam's traffic exports are tending to fall as demand is on decrease. The country made traffic export revenues of $1.42 billion during the first 10 months of this year, down 1.9% from last year.
Despite being in the top 5 export items with export revenue of more than $1 billion of Ho Chi Minh City, the added value of high-tech sector is still quite low. Experts say in the context of the current global economic downturn, information technology is considered to be the least affected field. Therefore, it's necessary to build policy to boost the added values of high-tech export products. More to follow.
High-tech products are one of 5 leading export items with export revenues of more than $1 billion, and Ho Chi Minh City have increased the city export turnover. However, according to experts, the added value of this sector is still under expectation. Exports of software in 2012 was estimated at $200 million, with the average annual growth rate of 40%. By 2015, the proportion of software exports will account more than 2% 10% of the total Ho Chi Minh City exports, but the growth is still unstable.
Chúng tôi kinh doanh trong 4 năm rưỡi vừa qua đều đã phát triển rất là tốt. Cái doanh thu hàng năm thì đều tăng hơn cho năm trước là ít nhất là 100%. Đặc biệt là năm 2012 vừa rồi chúng tôi đạt được cái doanh thu là 125 triệu đô la xuất khẩu. Còn 6 tháng đầu năm nay thì cái tốc độ phát triển cũng đang là tốt, so sánh với 6 tháng đầu năm 2012 thì cái doanh thu chúng tôi đã đạt được là gần hơn 30%.
Để đạt được những cái chiến lược đó cũng như là những cái quyết định hay là nghị quyết của thành phố thì khu công nghệ cao có đặt ra là đến năm 2015-18 đến hướng tới 20 là phải giá trị sản xuất sản phẩm công nghệ cao hoặc ứng dụng công nghệ cao là 35%. Cái chương trình chuyển dịch cơ cấu ngành xuất khẩu của thành phố thì là đến năm 2015 làm sao giá trị sản phẩm công nghệ cao có hàm lượng chất xám cao phải đạt là tăng gấp 5 lần so với 2010 và phải chiếm 10% trên cái kim ngạch xuất khẩu của thành phố.
In 2012, the export turnover of high-tech products in Ho Chi Minh City hit $2.46 billion, 3 times higher than 2011, and accounted for 11.4% of the total export value, excluding crude oil. High-tech products are one of the first two items hitting the benchmark $1 billion of export revenue in 2012. The major markets for these products are the US and Asian countries such as Japan, Singapore, and China. These products have achieved high export growth rate and become the major export items of Ho Chi Minh City.
Độ phát triển của ngành xuất khẩu, nhóm hàng công nghệ cao đang trở thành là cái hàng chủ lực đi theo cái đúng hướng định hướng phát triển xuất khẩu theo cái mô hình tăng trưởng bền vững và hợp lý theo chiều sâu chiều rộng, cũng như là làm sao để mở rộng cái quy mô sản xuất cũng như là nâng cao cái giá trị gia tăng lợi thế cạnh tranh và phù hợp với cái thế mạnh của thành phố trong cái góp phần chuyển dịch cơ cấu kinh tế cũng như là chuyển dịch cơ cấu hàng xuất khẩu của thành phố chúng ta cho đến năm 2015 và định hướng đến năm 2020.
At present, to encourage the development of high-tech industries, the city has implemented the government policies such as offering preferential tariffs, supporting loans, and developing supporting industries.
Nghị quyết của Đảng cũng như chủ trương nói rất là rõ rồi, tức là từ đây đến 2020 phấn đấu để mình trở thành một nước mạnh và rồi là quốc gia hiện đại hóa trên cái tinh thần là phải muốn hiện đại hóa thì công nghệ cao vẫn phải làm, rồi là công nghệ tiên tiến là phải là dẫn dắt thôi. Và đó cũng là con đường tất yếu. Bất kỳ một quốc gia nào muốn tồn tại phát triển trong cái thế giới cạnh tranh hội nhập như thế này thì đều phải chú ý tới phát triển lĩnh vực công nghệ tiên tiến, công nghệ cao.
Đối với thuế xuất khẩu thì đối với các sản phẩm công nghệ cao, thuế xuất khẩu là 0%. Và cũng cái mục đích để xây dựng cái thuế xuất khẩu 0% này là để tạo điều kiện cho các doanh nghiệp có thể có cạnh tranh về giá khi mà xuất khẩu và khuyến khích các doanh nghiệp xuất khẩu ra nước ngoài và tạo giá trị gia tăng.
In the program of export restructure by 2015, the value of high-tech products will be 5 times as much as that of 2010 and will account for 10% of the city's export turnover.
And last but not least, is today's update gold prices, forex, and stock markets. And that's all for this edition of Into Vietnam. Thank you so much for your time with us and see you later.